Both types of sports with Schoode and Tor. Football discussion on the internet.
So melodious.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you, I'm guessing because you weren't on it, you did not watch any of my vintage commercial special that I did on Thursday. I won't take offense. I'm just looking for context.
While I have a big passion for vintage NFL commercials, I was indisposed that night, was unable to catch the stream.
You were balls deep. So I had Dan the drywall man who does our jingle, he sent over a more rocking version. So I put together an intro for that. Tell me if you like this one, if you think it sounds better.
Both types of sports with Schoode and Tor. Football discussion on the internet.
What do you think?
It's kind of got some, a little more jump to it, a little more energy.
Got some balls, right?
For a football show. Yeah.
I like the emo. I like the fact that ours sounds, wussier. I think that it separates us from all the butt rock that seems to be.
Both types of sports.
No, it's not. God damn it.
I think
it seems to separate us from the butt rock,
I think having two is good because talking NFL offseason, maybe that's where we go kind of with the acoustic style, and talking NFL in season, maybe that's when we start rocking some more. So okay. I think both could fit with both types of sports that we discuss on the show.
Well, it is football discussion on the internet, and we are one of the few places on the planet that offers such a thing. So happy to be here with both types of sports. Please to be smashing the like button, and please to be subscribing on iTunes or Spotify and leaving a 5-star review. I am the Shoodster. There is Radio's Gigantor. I in the fortress of solid dudes in beautiful downtown Old Town Fairfax, presented by Monk's Barbecue, tore up in Red Bank. Presented by Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. Very excited. How was your weekend, young Gigantor?
It was a good weekend with the Bro Dogs. Don't need to, it was just party stuff. But the best part of the weekend was if there was a break in the action, I could turn on football and it became it just better than anything fantastic that you're watching with your friends. And even if it's preseason, so it's even better background noise or just watching because the pads, the jerseys, and it's not baseball. It's not bad YouTube videos or golf YouTube compilations. It's just sports are back. And
how many golf YouTube compilations are you watching?
I guess too many. My recommended feed is out of control.
God. Well, I do have some. I have I would say golf adjacent announcement that I can have for you here today that perhaps you'd be interested in. But you mentioned the helmets. I was just curious. Were these the helmets that you're enjoying watching? No. I think half the Colts roster decided they wanted to wear the fucking pillow turban concussion cap jobbers. What do they call it? What do they call it? Guardian caps, right?
Guardian caps. Yeah, it looks awful. I mean, that genuinely makes the helmet look dorky and weak. It doesn't look good. It looks really bad. And you could and the side by side even intensifies it. And the Colts have such a boring helmet anyways, but it's a classic helmet, so I can't really hate on it. But they made the boring helmet look boring and weak, which is just double bad.
Well, I would argue that the football helmet is the coolest piece of sporting equipment that we have. And it's got the logo right there, looks cool, makes these guys look cool. They look like gladiators. And I was looking at some of the Adam Schefter was on with, I think it was McAfee. And I waded into the comment section of a clip they put up. I don't know why. And I saw one guy who said there's a lot of dirt going on. They're turning it into flag football, and this ain't what we, and I kind of side a little bit, if I'm being honest, closer to the dirt than I do the enlightened. But there's one dude left a comment where he said, I genuinely don't understand why football fans care about how the Guardian cap is used. And that surprised me because I said to him, it looks stupid. That's why, is we're watching on TV and you're turning guys that look really cool into guys that look like dunderheads, pardon my French. And that it's as simple as that for me, Tor. Like, I want players to be as healthy as they can be and to not have concussions and all that good stuff, but it looks bad on TV. You're making your sport look dorkier when you've got the coolest looking sport, in my opinion, in the fucking world. And that's the main problem. And it's as simple as that.
I mean, for that gentleman, imagine if all of the MLB decided, hey, these hats that we've been wearing, they don't really give us the best sun protection for the eyes. We had a couple guys maybe get hit by the ball hit them when they were looking up for the sun, so we need to make it safer. Everyone's gonna be wearing fedoras now because it protects you get better shade coverage around your whole head, and now you got everybody out there in fedoras. It would look worse, and it's a sport. It ruins the optics of the sport. It ruins the mystique of the powerful professional athletes. It's a bad bit that they're doing with the Guardian caps.
I gotta say, I understand your example. If they play it, I mean, they send those guys out wearing some stupid shit. I mean, everyone dresses like the Savannah Bananas now. If there was one game where they're wearing like 3-piece suits with vests and a fedora and they're playing baseball with the gloves, I might be all in for that tour. If they did this horrible night at the Cleveland Guardians games, I think I might be entertained by that. Cannon Hotep, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Salute, Dukes and Tor. Salute to you, Cannon. If you'd like to send a super chat, if you have a question, comment, or query, we will put it up on the screen. Always appreciated and never required. Big show planned for you today. Tor and I will be joined by our buddy Ben Volin from the Boston Globe. He should be on in about 24 minutes. Crazy weekend for the Patriots, Tor. There was all those Brandon Ayuk reports, and then we got the Patriots have pulled out of the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes, but no, they didn't pull out. Brandon Ayuk said, I ain't going there. I don't care how much money they're willing to pay me. And then, of course, there was the preseason game where Joe Milton, one of these guys they pull in the last round of the draft, went out and had himself a game. 4 of 6 on pass attempts, 54 yards, had a touchdown, also went running around 5 carries for 22 yards, including a 13-yard, really fun play. The highlights are all over X if you want to go check it out. And look, we talk about this on the show all the time, Tor. The backup quarterback is just it's the sexiest position in the world. This isn't even backup. This is really likable, big, athletic, guys dancing at camp, real comfortable in his own skin, gets out there against the scales, goes fucking nuts. And then poor Drake May, first round pick, but everyone knew he's a project. Everyone knows we brought in Jacoby Brissett because we can't start this guy right now. We get to preseason. All that shit gets thrown out the window, and everybody's like, why is he not getting enough reps? Why isn't he progressing? Look at what Jaden Daniels is doing. Look at what Caleb Williams is doing. We knew this about Drake May. He is who we thought he was, and we let him off the hook. It's just funny that even though we know all that, the machine just keeps cranking.
Well, the fun part about football is that if it can turn any analyst right back into their caveman roots of fandom where big, strong arm, big, strong athletes. This looks fun. This makes me want to go out and play football and catch passes from him. Like Joe Milton has that ability to just win fans over because of his athletic dominance.
He's won me over.
Yeah, I'm Team Joe Milton also. Make the team. And every time, and the fun part about having a guy like this on your team, I think he is valuable. It's almost like a Jameis Winston factor, a locker room guy, a fan guy. If he's coming on the field, you know something's happening. Right. So you can scheme something up, make him a Hail Mary guy, make him anything. But I do think he could just be getting some reps here so they could trade him off for some value next year, possibly. I'm not sure. I think he's got to make the team, and B, you got to get him on the field in some way, shape, or form because he's exciting. And let's be honest, the Patriots are not going to have a lot to be excited about this year. And Jameis, I'll say this about Jameis Winston, who I guess gave some big impassioned speech. I watched it. Everyone's saying, Jameis Winston's got us ready to run through a wall. And I'm like, I like Jameis Winston's redemption story. I like the fact that he's a goofball, but he's a fucking goofball. And it was a goofy-ass speech. His going from the guy with the crab legs down his pants to the I'm eating W's, like all the weird shit that he's done. He's a baby face now. I mean, people love him. They love talking to him. I like when he was giving that speech about having Deshaun Watson's back. I didn't really understand half the stuff he was saying, but it's fun and he's fun. I think Joe Milton's cooler than Jameis Winston. For sure. Jameis Winston, better character.
Oh, he's a character, all right. Not better character, like better character as a person.
Yeah, but like an NFL character,
Yeah.
like a guy that just has an energy and does things differently. In that sense of character, Joe Milton, freak athlete. Let's see what he can do, and that it's just maybe eventually we get. I just want to see what we could do with him. What can the NFL do with Joe Milton in that arm?
Well, the Patriots aren't talented enough to not do anything with him, and it's just weird that that's happening at the same time that people are like saying, "Oh, Drake May looks like crap." All these other rookies. So here's the tweet. We'll talk with Ben about this. Drake May barely played in the preseason openers. I think he got 7 snaps. Joe Milton is getting buried at practice, and Gerard Mayo is pointing the finger at the OC. The Patriots quarterback rotations has been pretty weird. So we'll get to that. We'll talk about the Brandon Ayuk thing. Did you see Amari Cooper weigh in over the weekend on the potential trade where I guess what they were saying was he would be going back to San Francisco if Ayuk got traded there? I guess he went on Instagram and wrote, "I wouldn't mind at all." And can you imagine you're Amari Cooper, I like Cleveland, but it's Cleveland. And at best, you're the second or third best team in your division. You have Deshaun Watson, who hasn't been able to throw a football out of a wet paper bag since he's been there with all that guaranteed money. You're looking at that, you're in your 30s, or you have a ticket punch to the NFC Championship game. You're going for 1,300 yards. You're going to a Pro Bowl. You don't even have to be the first option on the team. You have to be, I mean, if he's just sitting there in Cleveland thinking, "Oh my God, is this even a possibility?" What a cock tease for that guy. If that deal never, what is it, metastasizes? What's the word I'm looking for? Manifests itself. That's it.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, latest Instagram story post, LOL, I wouldn't mind at all.
Of course he wouldn't.
And Amari Cooper has been such an interesting wide receiver to track and how he's been dealt and moved.
I love
because
him.
all he does is put up 1,000 yards and gets crazy contested catch touchdowns for the Raiders, for the Cowboys, for the Browns, and he gets dealt for nothing. And all he does is become the new number 1 wide receiver for every team that he's on.
I remember when the Cowboys traded him, Cowboys fans were saying he was too old. I mean, I remember reading those tweets, and he's just, like you said, he's just put up a bill each year that he's been on that, that horrible passing offense. Spider Clan, $5. These helmet covers are just an extension. The quarterback being protected at all costs. Look like the Madden 09 big head shit. Look, man, they look stupid. And somebody made the point. I wish I could have cut through all of the malarkey tour again. Pardon the harsh language. Mm-hmm. Why don't you just make a better helmet? Like, instead of adding a second layer to the existing helmet, make a helmet then that incorporates some of the aspects of this cap that you think is going to be beneficial towards these guys. And where's the fucking science? Like, where is someone to come out and speak to us like we're idiots and say, this is why this is better for these guys, and here is where it lowers your opportunity to get a concussion? I've seen none of that. Why isn't that a conversation that Florio and all these guys that are pro Guardian cap are constantly espousing?
Once the concussion conversation really started becoming national and big, I recall every offseason there was some new breakthrough in NFL helmet technology. It was the extra padding. It was the air pressure. Then it became the cone technology. And then it also became the cone technology working in due part with the turf surfaces. So I saw that they were kind of making some tracks and pushing forward. And now we got these crazy Ezekiel Elliott spaceman helmets, which I loathe, but the Guardian,
I like them better than the Guardian caps. I'm with you. I think they look like garbage, but
I think that the Guardian cap is just, it feels like a Band-Aid over the helmet problem. And maybe we finally reached the final destination of how far the science can take for concussion prevention in a helmet with these materials. Then just say that. Then just say this is where we're at. This is as safe that we can make the helmets. And now we're at it, and we decide to put a Band-Aid on the outside.
Or we have another helmet. We're still working on it, and this is a go-between. But at least they haven't mandated it. But Schefter was making it sound like McAfee like it's just a foregone conclusion. These guys are all going to be wearing them. Spider Clam, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. This is the report I was telling you about from Matt Mayoko. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly. So Schefter reports that Brandon Ayuk and that the Patriots decided not to explore any further trade possibilities with the 49ers about Ayuk. And then the follow-up report was the Patriots had an agreement in place with the 49ers and a large offer on the table, but he did not show interest in going there. And I think there's audio of Christian McCaffrey saying my former teammate Brandon Ayuk. Look, he wants to get paid, but he's not stupid. And to sit there and look at maybe Gerard Mayo's going to be a Hall of Fame head coach, Tor. Maybe Drake May's going to be Tom Brady. Like, he's got the sure thing right now where he's contending for a championship and wants to get paid. I think he would rather stay in San Francisco, but I don't think that he wants to get his money and also just be buried on a franchise that is really at the bottom rung of whatever an NFL team is right now. And it's got a lot of climbing to do just to get back into being competitive on a weekly basis.
I think you're dead on there. If I was a free agent wide receiver in his position looking for money, I wouldn't want to go to the Patriots because I'm not going to get thrown the ball. They're going to run the rock. It's going to be a mess. And it's not in a great pass catching conducive environment in Foxborough in December and January. I don't think the games are going to matter then, but it's going to be a bad time. Whereas San Francisco, it seems like for them this year, they're going to have a pretty good time. The NFC still isn't that strong. They'll get challenged in the playoffs, but for 17 weeks, Brandon Ayuk can just torch the NFL. Just have fun. Just be that guy on that team. But eventually, there's a cap for a reason. They're going to have to work around it. Someone's going to have to make a sacrifice on either end. And once Brandon Ayuk decides that he wants to, or the front office wants to, that's only when I see us getting an agreement on this.
The only part that I don't like is you can look at the market and you can say Justin Jefferson's getting this, Amon St. Brown. Like you can look at all these guys and say that's what they're getting paid, but you know where your money's going on your team. You know who's already gotten paid and who has to get paid in the near future. The 49ers are slow on this shit, but they're not the Cowboys. Like they're going to pay their quarterback. So I don't know. It's weird. Did you see how bad Trey Lance was this weekend? I made a list. Let me pull it up. Hold on. All right. I made bad stories and good stories. You want to hear them?
Yeah.
All right, bad stories. Malik Nabers injury, Hollywood Brown injury, Trey Lance and Stetson Bennett are very underwhelming, and the Colts are wearing Guardian caps during the games.
Stetson had a game-winning touchdown. I'm standing with him. I don't care if he throws 4 picks.
And he could have thrown. I watched that whole goddamn game, Tor, because I'm obsessed with Stetson Bennett. It could have been a 5th pick. He tried to throw a pick on the last goddamn drive where he threw the touchdown. And do we still know what happened? Do we have any idea why he was sent away last year? Like officially, like 100%?
No, I think he's just out there taking a little breather, coming back to throw.
This guy's in rough shape. Look, I love Stetson Bennett, but he was throwing interceptions in ways you can't even describe it. And then Trey Lance, I'm listening to the way they're talking about Trey Lance, and they're like, well, he needs to have more opportunities. Like, well, what is the preseason? Like, where is he going to get it? He's buried on the depth chart. He can't beat out Cooper Rush. He can't beat out the backup quarterback to become the backup quarterback to Dak.
It's weird. He has all the tools, and it is not clicking for him in the NFL. It wasn't clicking in San Francisco, obviously. I mean, genuinely, how does that? I can't believe everyone in the NFL has kind of just brushed past that 3rd overall pick, usurped by the Mr. Irrelevant, and now he's just been forgotten.
3 first-round picks they gave up for that kid, and he can't beat out the backup in Dallas to become the backup. He just very underwhelming. Paul Morris, $10 super chat. Thank you, Paul. Love this show. Thank you for making my Mondays better. That is most assuredly our plan each and every Monday on both types of sports. Please make sure you're following us on X, Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff. The Hollywood Brown thing is a bummer, Tor. I mean, you know me, Chiefs fatigue, super fan number 99 over here, but
right.
I mean, that is who he is. And every time he does something exciting on the football field, you just know that there's a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. And I looked at his stats from last year, 51 passes, 574 yards, and 4 touchdowns with the Cardinals. Now, granted, that's the Cardinals, but he's not available. And he hasn't been available the entire time he's been in the league. And now, I guess I looked at the latest today, and he hasn't been ruled out for week 1, but this is the same injury that Tyreek Hill had, where it's like, it sounds nasty with the clavicle and all that. He missed 4 weeks. Tyreek Hill missed 4 weeks, and I think we all believe Tyreek Hill is a pretty tough dude, pretty durable for his size. I don't think there's any reason to believe that you're getting more than 10 games out of Hollywood Brown if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. I was surprised he was out on the field for the preseason game.
I was surprised at the initial pop that the Chiefs and Hollywood Brown got for him going to Kansas City. He's done it. Like he's done anything. And it's not for a lack of trying. You know, if he's healthy, he's on the field. It hasn't been Hollywood Brown's not there because he's just not there. But he gets hurt, and he gets hurt everywhere, and it's really unfortunate. And every time that these injury concern conversations come up, it always feels negative because you have to be on the field to be talked about in a real positive light. So I'm not hating on Hollywood Brown, but geez, I did not get it at all because it felt like the injury was coming. And it's a bummer that it happens this early. These week 1 preseason injuries are just crushing to
you saw
fan
Xavier
bases.
Worthy was out there with the ones though, right? I mean,
I did.
He wasn't streaking up and down the field catching touchdowns, but they're letting you know exactly what they think of him there. All right. Those are my bad stories. And Malik Nabers, Jesus Christ, you're already drafted by the Giants. Daniel Jones is your quarterback. You're running around open all the time. They just can't get you the ball. I just feel he's dinged. My good stories though, Jaden Daniels, definitely a good story, right?
I would say so.
2 or 3 passes, 45 yards, only had 1 series, but he had that 42-yard. It was a dime to Diami Brown, who has been sleepwalking through his professional career up until this point, and now he's out there looking like he's Ricky Sanders. I know the Jets didn't play a lot of their defensive starters, but I looked and I read Washington was missing their top 3 tackles, and Jaden Daniels was still out there whipping the ball around. Caleb Williams, 2 series, 33-6. Chicago rolled over the Bills. He was 4-7, 95 yards. He ripped off a really nice 13-yard scramble. He got 20 snaps in. They actually gave him more work than I thought, and he had a 26-yard tour. I don't know where Cole Kmet is. There's a lot of hype around a lot of tight ends in this league this year. But Cole Kmet should be in everybody's no worse than top 6 as far as who you're going to draft. He had a sick catch, and if those guys have chemistry early, that's going to be a beautiful friendship, because I've been spending all my time mulling over which are the wide receivers to draft in that setup. But if he's already that comfortable, man, that could be great.
Yeah, the Jaden Daniels throw was necessary, and I feel like the offense and him knew, look, we're giving you a series, and he, as a gamer, decided, all right, I'm gonna show what I can do. I'm the number 2 pick for a reason. I'm gonna throw a deep ball, and it's gonna get completed, and I'm just gonna become the face of the city in one
tough
preseason
throw
game.
too.
And a tough throw, good throw. I get, he had a tight end open on the middle and another receiver open, but he made the ballsy choice to become a preseason week 1 legend, and he did it. So I appreciated that. He missed a bad screen throw. It happens.
Yeah.
And when that angle of him running into the end zone on the touchdown, good read option, nice, clean, easy play. He looked lean. He looked, I mean, a real like skinny lean playing quarterback. That was enough for me to notice it and have some concern, because he can't get hit hard. He just can't.
Well, but he does look, he's 6'4", Tor, and like in the pocket, he looks tall, and he looks like a commanding presence. And no disrespect to Robert Griffin III, and even Kirk, who's not of a bad size, but I mean, he just looks like a guy that if he fills out a little bit is going to be a menace back there. Not everybody's got to look like Cam Newton. It's nice. It's great. The Colts are excited because of that, but I don't need him out there. He looks tall, and he looks like he's already comfortable, and he's in command of the offense from what we've seen. And in camp, I mean, he's made some really impressive. Him and Zach Ertz, I watching some camp footage. They already have chemistry. Like, he's already really comfortable with him. So, man, if you're a Redskins fan, I don't know how you keep it in your pants, because this is as close as you've gotten in a long while. I guess 2012 to sitting there looking like, oh my God, do we have a guy like everybody else has a guy? And it's not just a guy, Tor. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. He's not exciting. He's never been exciting. There's not any hot sauce on him. This is an exciting player, a marketable player, a guy that's cool. And I don't know when the last time Washington's ever had a quarterback like that.
No, it's been forever. And I think it was a great opening, a great homecoming for him. Just saying, hey, look, I'm in the jersey. I look good.
Looks great.
That was great. I was really impressed with Caleb Williams.
Me too.
His arm looked like he looked like he had an NFL arm on some of those throws. The scroll out pass that he had to Cole Kmet it looked like he'd been doing that for 5 years already. That was solid.
I'm sorry. Another guy I was impressed by, Tor, I'm sure you were, Bo Nix. Good Lord. He didn't even start, went out there, outplayed Stidham. He scored on, I think, 4 drives, 15 to 21 passes. It was $125. 4 of his drives ended in touchdowns. Josh Reynolds also dropped the touchdown in the end zone. He could have had 3 touchdowns. We forget, because so many quarterbacks went before him, he was still the 12th pick in the draft. I mean, they are expected. And then you had that weird Sean Payton smokescreen. We talked about it last week, where he can't beat out Zach Wilson. He can't beat out Jared Stidham. Like, he's listed as 3rd on the depth chart. Why is that? Man, that guy looks comfortable out there, and he's running RPO. Like, he's doing shit in Oregon, he wasn't doing.
Yeah.
And he was doing it comfortably. And I think that's way more important than, he's up against the 2s and the 3s. Fuck that. Control what you can control. He looks like he was in control of the offense and doing things that we hadn't seen him do in his collegiate career.
I'm glad you brought up the Broncos. I thought first of all, their new white uniforms I thought they were gross. They're not like
atrocious.
All the weird action on the shoulders.
Dude,
that's bad. And they had good baseline. They got good baseline colors. They got a great logo. Just bring back the orange helmets with the stallion. That's what the fans want, not whatever this nonsense was that you're throwing out there.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was watching the game and it was one of the games I was really looking forward to because there was a lot of storylines and there was a lot of scoring. I mean, there was like almost 70 points scored in that Colts Broncos game. There was a couple of times where I'm in and out of the kitchen and I'm doing stuff. I'm like, who the fuck who is that? Like, is this a college? Are they showing highlights? They did not look professional, and maybe the Blues, the home uniforms are better, but I hated those. I'm glad
I would hope so. Yeah, I loathe them. Also, how embarrassing is it for the NFL that Jared Stidham is still like floating around and that name is just still tossed out in camp? No, I'm so sick of him. I am so fucking sick of Jared Stidham.
Would you play him? Did you play him in college? Did he go for 330 on Rhode Island?
But he could have. He definitely could have. But all that in New England, he's the guy. I mean, we're really feeling good about him. No, you're not. He just keeps on moving teams. Stop trying to make it happen. Let him be the third guy. He can hold the clipboard. He can do what he needs to do. But I've never even once tasted a particle of the buzz around him.
Well, he had the rub. He had the New England rub. I mean, the Garoppolo stuff, the Stidham stuff, everyone thought whoever was behind Bailey Zappi had some of that. He's still there. By the way, he's still there. I can't believe he's still on that team.
Pulling for him.
I am too, but it's going to be an uphill slog. Look at this. Bobby Double L, $10 super chat. Love BTOS. Beautiful insights by two master. Are we the masterpieces? Jesus. High praise, Bobby Double L. Tell you that much. And look at this man dropped gifted memberships from the sky toward 10 gifted memberships to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you click accept gifted memberships on our YouTube page and you might get a free one. All of the content that goes up there for our members, courtesy of our good dude, Bobby Double L. What a good man. What a sexy man. All right, hold on. I got a couple more on my list. I think Ben's coming on here real soon.
Gotcha.
So Bo Nix, big positive from the preseason weekend. So much has happened to her. I mean, this started on Thursday last week. I feel like we have too much to get caught up on.
It feels good to have this much.
I agree. And by the way, I hate to always bring this up. I went to Pro Football Talk this morning to start prepping. Guess what the lead story was? Just take a guess what the lead story was.
Was it Rodgers? Something about Rodgers?
It was Aaron Rodgers and the vaccine comments in his immunized comments. I swear for Lord. If you go, the story is still up there. It's not the center story now, but it was the whole goddamn morning.
Oh my God.
Find the passion for anything in your life that Mike Florio has for hating Aaron Rodgers, and you will be good at that thing. Did you watch my boys at all?
I saw some stuff from them. They look solid.
Levis looked good. 4 or 5, 35 yards. He rushed for a touchdown. He's a physical guy. He's a strong guy. They're hoping maybe that takes place. He had Calvin Ridley over the middle for a big. Calvin Ridley has looked fast as shit in two-tone blue. So I don't want to get ahead of myself because he's a weirdo. But Tony Pollard, by the way, got the start. 4 rushes, 35 yards. He caught both of the balls that were thrown at him. They beat the 49ers, and he got the start over Tajay Spears, who did score a touchdown, but man, that's going to be a handcuffing situation. I don't know if you can. I don't know. I feel like that offense is going to move under Callahan, but I don't know if I can handcuff 2 Titans running backs this year and see which one comes out on top. I think I got to wait, let somebody else draft those guys.
Yeah, I'm worried about you getting into this Calvin Ridley vortex because
I'm so into the vortex tour.
I got vortex when he was in Atlanta. He was just every time. I'm so excited to watch Ridley play, and then he makes some big plays, but he's always like an A-. It's never here's the A+ game from him. And then Jacksonville, I mean, I couldn't have been more steamed up last year watching him in camp, catching big dots from Trevor Lawrence, laser beam, look at me, Calvin Ridley toe tap. I'm hoping he does well. It'd be great for him to settle in and become a real good wide receiver for Tennessee. Lord knows they need it. I'm pulling for you, but I'm still always a little bit wary of the hype with him in preseason.
Well, also, I think DeAndre Hopkins is supposed to miss like a chunk of time, like 4 to 6 weeks. So, but they got Boyd. I mean, if they're saying nice things about Burks, they're saying, who knows if he can give you anything, then perhaps, I mean, that should be an improved receiver core over what was maybe the worst receiver core in the league last year. Bobby Double L, thank you again for all those gifted memberships. Chip Fuqua, $4.99. Love BTOS on a Monday. As do I, brother. It's one thing I look forward to each and every week. Thank you so much, Chip. You're a good man. And there's our guy, Mike from Don't Sleep Energy. Don'tSleepEnergy.com. Use the Dukes promo code. Skins are back, baby. Please play the original jingle whenever you get a chance. It's just lovely. It is lovely. You're right.
Both types of sports with Schoode and Tor. Football discussion on the internet.
Melodic is the way that I would describe it.
I like the theme music requests. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. So do you like that one, Mike from Don't Sleep, or the rock?
Both types of sports with Schoode and Tor. Football discussion on the internet.
And if you're in radio, there's nothing more annoying than a weekend show that takes itself too seriously, Tor. There's like a 2-hour golf show that's got a bunch of production and bits and tape segments and shit. And you're like, come on, know your role. Like, fucking put a good show together, then worry about all this shit. We're going to be the only 1 hour, 2 hours worth of show a week that has 14 different fucking theme songs by the end of the season. Oh, boy. Thank you, Mike from Don't Sleep. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Did you see? I had a bit of a quick bad list here.
Oh shit! Hold on. Ben's on. I didn't see him. I was so busy freaking out. I didn't see Ben Volin was here about the theme song. I apologize. Let me put him up on the script. This stupid goddamn theme song is the only thing Ben, I'm sorry. We've got 2 theme songs for the show now, so I made you wait an additional 30 to 45 seconds. I apologize. How are you, my friend?
But worth it because those jingles are pretty cool. So.
Well, thank you very much. We wanted to have you on for a plethora of piñatas. There's a lot of news in your neck of the woods, especially at the quarterback position. We brought this tweet up that you put out actually earlier on the show. Drake May barely played in the preseason opener. Joe Milton is getting buried at practice, and Gerard Mayo is pointing the finger at the OC. How much of this, though, is I can't believe how many people in the national media specifically, I don't know if this is happening in your neck of the woods, have forgotten that Drake May is a project, that everybody's acknowledged that. That's why Jacoby Brissett was brought in there. I know that Joe Milton having a fun experience and all the guys seem to rally around him. That's another variable here. But what X's and O's is going on with the development of the quarterbacks that seems so strange to you?
Well, Chad, you say that everyone should have known that Drake May was a project. I mean, I must have missed that on draft night when the Patriots told everyone, guys, he's really not any good. It's going to take a couple years to get on the field. We got to be really patient with this guy. Like, no, you draft him with the number 3 pick. And I totally am for being patient. And that is why they brought in Jacoby Brissett. But you want to see the kid get on the field and you want to see him show something during training camp at least. And of the 6 first-round quarterbacks, not that I'm like going around to camps, but certainly just like kind of reading the buzz and reading the tea leaves. Drake May's doing the least amount of any of the first round quarterbacks right now. And then at the preseason game the other night, look, you only get 3 of these opportunities. He's going to hit the bench once the season starts, and Jacoby Brissett is your starter. Don't you want to get him a few snaps just to go through the game operation and work the clock and, work on a few plays? And they got him in and out of there in 6 snaps. He spent the whole night, as a bystander. Bailey Zappi, ultimate mop-up duty, played 7 series, even though they're probably going to get rid of him pretty soon.
What the
whole thing is just weird. And to me, I'm starting to wonder. So they brought the Patriots are all ex-Packers now. It's Alex Van Pelt and Elliott Wolf and Ben McAdoo and all the guys who were with the Packers in like the early part of the Aaron Rodgers run. And so they're developing Drake May now. And it's like, are these guys on the 3-year plan? I mean, are they, trying to develop Drake May for 2026? It's like, come on. I mean, he doesn't have to play right away, but let's see what he can do. So they've got the Eagles coming in tomorrow for a joint practice, and then on Thursday for a preseason game. I'm sure he'll get a ton of work in practice. I want to see him in the game, though. I want to see what he can do under the lights in a game type of situation. He's the only one.
The Packers plan also included a 3-time MVP quarterback in front of the guy you're developing, which of course we don't have here. You brought up the amount of snaps you got. I saw this on X. This is first round quarterbacks from 2021 till the guys who are drafted. This is how many preseason snaps they've gotten. There's Drake May at the very bottom. Justin Fields, of course, got a lot of work, and you can see all the guys that did, including Will Levis and some guys that have some Caleb Williams have some pretty big expectations. I'm with you. Could it be you're at camp. Is he bad? Like, are they worried about him going out there and looking like garbage, and so they're protecting him from himself? Bailey Zappi running your offense, unless I'm missing something, does nothing. It does nothing to also develop the other guys that are kind of out there with him, I guess, unless you think he's going to give them more opportunities to make plays. That it seems to me like maybe they're trying to do him a favor because they know that he's not going to look good in the preseason right now.
And it's not just a favor for Drake May. It's a favor for them and for everyone with the organization that they don't need the drama right now. I mean, already there's been talk, and I've kind of been at the forefront of it, that there hasn't been much difference between Drake May, the number 3 pick, and Joe Milton, the 6th round pick so far. And in fact, Joe Milton's the one with the freakish physical tools who just, makes you say, wow, 3 times per practice. So I do think there's a very strong chance that they were protecting everyone and holding Drake May out. It's one thing, a few thousand fans see him in practice every day, but most of the world doesn't see Drake May in practice. You send him out into the preseason game and he doesn't look good. Yeah, it could set off alarm bells all over the place and already, create the talk of, did they get the pick wrong, which it is way too early. With all this said, it's way too early to say any of that with Drake May. You can have a bad rookie year. Tua, I'm totally blanking right now. Guys have had bad rookie years. Jared Goff, Peyton, but Peyton still played well despite the interception. Jared Goff had a horrific rookie year. Still came back and played pretty well. So it can, a bad rookie year does not mean you're done forever. That said, there's no real reason other than, maybe you're worried about Drake May getting hurt or, playing in the rain, and you're playing the Panthers backups. The Panthers sat everyone. So maybe you feel like there's nothing to gain, but I just don't buy that line of thinking. There's still experience to be gained and to be had for Drake May in that preseason situation. And I kind of agree with you. To me, the main reason not to play him would be that you're just worried that he's going to go out there and not look good.
Is there any chance, Ben, that, and I know nobody could be as hard-headed as Bill Belichick and the classic Patriots teams over the past 20 years, but is there some residual effect in that culture in Foxborough where you really have to earn it, or is Mayo trying to change it up, do things his own way more with the reps and not trying to be as militant of a team culture as Belichick had it running?
Well, yeah, I mean, Mayo is definitely trying to be a little bit more of a player's coach. Although, you see this time of year in training camp, some teams sit out a lot of their veterans. The Patriots have not had any of that. They've had the NFL doesn't let you do 2-a-days or things like that, or the Oklahoma drill anymore. But the Patriots have worked hard. It's been very hot up here, and they've gone a full 2 hours plus conditioning. Guys are practicing every day. So Mayo's brought, the players in the locker room. He's, a 37-year-old former player. He's definitely going to relate better to them. But, it's not exactly summer camp out there for the Patriots either. It's been pretty hard for them. I just think with Drake May, I just think they're starting to realize he's pretty far off, and they don't want to put him in situations that he's not ready for yet. So I don't think it has anything to do with, earning your way or this and that. I just think he's not ready to take that next step. And Jacoby Brissett has clearly taken the reins of that offense, and he's the leader there, and he's the best quarterback in practice. We kind of know what Jacoby Brissett is. Best case scenario, he could probably lead them to a 7-10 record. More likely if they're 2-6, 2-5, I think the Patriots are going to have a big decision. Do they kind of throw Drake May to the wolves, or do they just be super patient with him and wait it out? Either way, it's training camp now. Now's the time to get Drake May all the work he can get.
I love that we're talking about this already. Well, the part about it too, though, Ben, is Jaden Daniels goes out there and rips it. Caleb Williams goes out there and rips it. These are his contemporaries, but look no further than your own backyard. You mentioned Joe Milton, 4-6, 54 yards, had a touchdown. Looks like he's having fun, had that great scramble. And then every video I see of him at camp, he's dancing. Everybody loves him. Nobody's got a bad word to say about him, but you know, he was drafted where he was and Drake May's drafted where he was. So there's a reason for that. But how much more difficult does the conversation have when you got a guy on you don't even have to compare to the neighbors that, you know, you look across the street. Well, what do we got to keep up with the Joneses? No. The guy that's on the team is going out there and playing better. And he's real likable and he's saying all the nice things and he seems real comfortable in his own skin. How much more difficult does that make all of this? And what do you think so far of covering Joe Milton? It just seems like he's, you know, becoming a folk hero at this point.
Yeah, Chad, that's a great point. And I wonder if the Patriots have a little regret for taking Joe Milton with a flyer 6th round, because as you said, it offers a direct comparison to Drake May every single day in practice. And, you know, it's interesting, like the last quarterback, Mac Jones, I think his issue physically just didn't have it, you know, isn't big, isn't a runner, doesn't have a big arm. So the game, it's going to struggle for him if you don't have any plus physical gifts. Drake May is a bigger version. Like he's 6'4", fills out the jersey nicely, has a strong arm. But then you put him next to Joe Milton and he just looks very pedestrian because Joe Milton is a freak. He's 6'5", 245 pounds. He does standing backflips. He's just an insane athlete. And he literally throws the ball 85 yards. Like he's got a cannon. So, I mean, you know, like practice out there right now, I liken it to, it's like batting practice or like the driving range. And Joe Milton is like crushing 450-foot drives. Yeah. I don't know if he play golf, but the dude is just unbelievable to watch on the range. So that's what it's like in practice right now. And oh, by the way, he's not terrible. Like he's making some plays. He had a really nice touchdown pass where he looked off the safety the other day. And, you know, he can throw a 70-yard bomb. So, as you said, though, it makes you wonder, why could a guy with these physical gifts, why could he fall all the way to the 6th round? So clearly there's a disconnect between his physical gifts and actually playing the position. And that must be why Drake is the number 3 pick and why Joe Milton's the 6th rounder. But, man, the guy is a freak. And I almost think the Patriots, like they've been burying Joe Milton at practice. He's barely gotten any reps. And I wonder if it's the same thing that we said, that they're trying to protect Drake May and they don't want all the side-by-side comparisons because right now I really don't think there's much of a difference between May and Joe Milton.
That's garbage if they're doing that. The Redskins, when I was covering them on the radio station, they drafted a punter. His name was Durant Brooks. I think they drafted him in the 6th round. And because they drafted him, they kept him way too long because everyone was giving them crap for drafting a punter in the first place. And then you just knew they were trying to save face. That is 1/100th as devastating as it will be if they're doing all of the, I mean, this is Machiavellian type crap here. We're not going to play this quarterback because we're so worried that we screwed the pooch. And if they're not doing it because they think it's what's best for Drake May, if they're doing it for their own massive egos or, oh my God, we've already botched this, like you got to make the mistake and move on. I can't believe we're talking about this after one preseason game, but you know, when you sign Donovan McNabb, if you're the Redskins and you trade for him, you don't give him an extension in the middle of the season. You say, oh my God, this guy isn't very good. We screwed up and we've got to get out of it. You don't sit there and preen and pretend that what you got to deal with reality. And if the reality is they don't think Drake May is very good right now, then get the other guys the reps and do what you got to do.
Well, I would say the reality is there's always going to be politics at play. And when you draft Drake May, the number 3 pick, that like you're invested in that pick.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know, it's not just Drake May. Well, good luck. It's, you know, all their reputations at stake. And who knows, you whiff on the quarterback at number 3, you might not get another shot to be a GM or a head coach. So everyone in Foxborough is invested in making Drake May work. So it's not reality to think it's going to be some, you know, open competition with Joe Milton and everyone's going to get a fair fight. You know, Joe Milton, he's been scratching and clawing for reps at the end of practice lately because, you know what, they're all invested in getting Drake May as much work as he can. And Drake May is getting extra periods and Drake May is getting a ton of work. And Jacoby Brissett is going to be your quarterback to start the first month of the season. And then who knows, And so the Patriots, part of it is I don't know how many reps they have for Joe Milton right now. And I think part of it is I think they're trying to squash any sort of controversy about how bad Drake May might potentially be and how good Joe Milton might potentially be.
Ben, I want to ask you real quick about a different team in the AFC East. I'm already starting to jump to conclusions for them. I know me and Dukes have talked earlier in the offseason about thinking that the window is closed, and this first week of the preseason, I'll jump right to it. I think the Bills are going to be down this year. They get blown out 33-6 for a team that had flaunted and flexed their depth for the last couple years. To see them go out and just get bullied like that, I think it's going to be a down year for Buffalo. Do you think that the window of opportunity is still open for them? I think maybe they're a 7 seed going into the playoffs this season.
See, I'm the opposite. I still believe in the Bills. I'm of the school of as long as they have Josh Allen, they're going to be competitive and they're going to be an elite team. Now, I don't know if they can get past the Chiefs. That's kind of been the mountain they can't get over the last few years. But and it's going to take them a little while to figure out the wide receiver thing when you kind of completely overhaul the room like that. It's going to take Josh Allen a little bit of time to get into a new rhythm, but I still love their tight ends. Still got 2 excellent tight ends, and Josh Allen to me is still a top 5 quarterback. Joe Brady, I think, is an excellent offensive coordinator who's now had a full offseason to work and implement his offense. And I don't know how much I believe in the rest of the AFC East. I think the Jets will be good with Rodgers, but still probably a wild card team. And the team I'm not believing in is the Dolphins. To me, that's a team that just freezes in December and January. I think they're 4-10 in those cold months. The last 2 years don't have a playoff win. Tua, can't beat teams with winning records. So I'm not bullish on the Dolphins this year, but I think the Bills will be right there again because I believe in Josh Allen. I think he's that good.
All right, Ben, take us through what happened here. Brandon Ayuk he wants out. The Patriots are one of these teams they're linked with. First, it was Cleveland and the Patriots, and Pittsburgh's involved, and the Patriots are reported by Schefter to say, all right, we're not looking for any further trade possibilities. But then there's this report saying that, look, Brandon Ayuk flat out said that even though there was a bunch of money available to him, he didn't want to go to New England. Gerard Mayo comes out and says, hey, if we start winning, people are going to want to come here. So I assume they wanted to bring in this player. They offered whatever they could. The player said, I don't want to be a part of it. Now it's damage control because you get publicly rebuked like the Wizards did by KD2DC when Kevin Durant wouldn't even come and visit them in person. It's always something I like to bring up.
Old hurt.
It's real hurt. What actually happened there? How did that whole thing unfold?
So it's interesting when you talk about damage control. The damage control that the Patriots are doing is making sure that everyone knows that they offered a huge contract, because the negativity around the Patriots the last few years is that they don't spend enough money and that they're cheap in free agency and they're at the bottom of cash spending. So I think, they really did offer Brandon Ayuk a huge contract, probably over $30 million, big guarantees, top 5 wide receiver. And they offered the Niners enough in a trade that the Niners would have accepted it. So it was all locked and loaded. Just needed one person's approval, and Brandon Ayuk wanted nothing to do with the Patriots. And that is obviously a screaming indictment of where they are as an organization. He's not the only one who really wants nothing to do with the Patriots. DeAndre Hopkins didn't last year. Calvin Ridley this year. I mean, the Patriots now are the team that agents use to, they throw out there to try to increase someone else's offer. They're just like a leverage.
Man.
Look, it's reality. It's, first of all, you don't have a quarterback. I mean, maybe, Drake May, if he pans out, he'll be the answer to all that. But right now they don't have a quarterback. And then New England is just not a place where a lot of players want to go. They're not from here. It's not a part of the country that they're really used to. Foxborough is kind of in the middle of nowhere. So it all kind of adds up to the Patriots, even overpaying a guy. Ayuk didn't want to come here. And I don't blame him, because if you're Brandon Ayuk, and you definitely get paid. You get that bag of money. Coming to New England could ruin your career. I mean, who knows what kind of production you're putting up as the number 1 option now with a bad quarterback. Like, his best play is, whether it's signing a deal that's less for what he wants or just playing out this year, stay in San Francisco. That is the spot. Like, play for Kyle Shanahan, you'll put up huge numbers. You've got Kittle and McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, and you got Brock Purdy giving you like San Francisco is where you're going to go put up stats and help, not only get the next contract, but maybe the one after that. So going to you get your money, but your football career is not going to last much longer if you take that deal.
We were just talking about how Amari Cooper must just be sitting on pins and needles saying, oh my God, I can go from Deshaun Watson to being in Kyle Shanahan's offense and having all these weapons around me, and I get a one-way ticket to the NFC Championship game. He's got to be the biggest fan of that deal going through out of anybody. A couple of years ago, Antonio Brown was not a psychopath, and he was weirding his way out of Pittsburgh, and Juju Smith-Schuster was one of the biggest baby faces in the league, and a real productive guy. And I remember when he went to Kansas City, I was like, oh man, he's going to have 1,500 yards. And it didn't happen. And he just got released by a team that certainly doesn't have Rice and Taylor starting for them this year. What happened to Juju Smith-Schuster, and how is he not capable of making this roster?
Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster was like the oldest 27-year-old in the NFL. He went to the league at, I think he was 20. And what happened was, I want to say his last year in Pittsburgh, he suffered a knee injury, and I think it's just lingered. It's, whether it's like bone on bone, or it's something that, reports came out when he spent the year in Kansas City. He made it through the season, but it took a ton of work each week, and he barely practiced, and he was constantly in the trainer's room. So his knee has been an issue for the last several years since he injured it in Pittsburgh. And then last year, the Patriots and free agency, things just went sideways with them. They, were pinching pennies with Jacoby Myers. It should have been a no-brainer to bring him back. Instead, they upset Myers, who leaves for the Raiders for just $1 million more, nothing crazy. And then I think the Patriots panicked and just turned to Juju Smith-Schuster and gave him a similar contract with a little bit less guaranteed than Jacoby Myers. But it's almost like the Patriots didn't do their homework last year and didn't really know about the knee injury, because it was an issue for him all year. He had a tough time adapting to the offense. He only had 29 catches, 1 touchdown. It was just a bad fit all around. And they still do owe him $7 million guaranteed this year.
Wow.
So he doesn't sign. I mean, yeah, they released him even though they owe him that. That type of money used to guarantee your roster spot. Now they're just paying him to go away. If he signs with another team, their obligation is decreased by however much he makes with another team. But still, it's going to end up being probably $5 to $7 million for Juju not to play with you this year. And it's just, he didn't have it anymore. He's the oldest 27-year-old in the league, and they signed KJ Osborne, a slot receiver from the Vikings. They signed him this year. He's going to be what Juju should have been. So, you hate to see it for a guy like Smith-Schuster. You hate to see injuries kind of take him down, but he's just not the same player he once was.
As someone that has been paid to go away from a job before, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It can be both good and bad. It is at Ben Volin on X, of course, the Boston Globe, bostonglobe.com. Fantastic information as always. Ben, I know you're slammed this time of year. Thank you so much for making the time, buddy. Big stories up in your neck of the woods. Really appreciate you discussing.
Hey, always. Thanks a lot, guys.
That's my guy. At Ben Volin, go give him a follow. Always been very, very generous with his time. To appreciate that. And he is, may I, Tor?
Yeah.
A big silly when it comes to reporting the sports, as you know. What is this? Skins are back. Play the original jingle. Yeah, I think Redskins fans, Commanders fans, Washington football team fans, this is what you hoped for when Snyder got booted. I mean, this is your moment. It's taken a little while for new culture to metastasize, but the quickest way to get that to happen, Tor, is an exciting quarterback, an exciting young quarterback that everybody thinks is good. It isn't just Citizen Cope from all the fucking Skins fans that try to pump up all these skills that they get. I mean, I don't mean any disrespect to Patrick Ramsey or Jason Campbell or any of these other guys that have come through here, but everyone thinks this guy's fucking good. It's not just, inflated Skins fans. This could be an exciting, I don't know how many wins it translates to, but this could be an exciting season.
I think as long as he goes out there and shows capability and some competence in a rookie year, that's all I ask for. I don't have expectations of a rookie quarterback coming in and dialing the league up. It takes time. It is hard to do. And if you find a guy like CJ Stroud, then just thank your lucky stars because it's the lottery. That is not the traditional quarterback development in the NFL. There's going to be some bumps, but it could be real exciting. And I'm optimistic. And I've gotten criticized in my personal life about, hey, what you sound like you're not a fan of him, Jaden Daniels being. Why are you hating on him? I'm not. But I've seen the carousel. I've lived it. I can't get overly invested emotionally with this team because it's my dad's team. It's everyone around me team. And that gets me invested. I just can't take that big leap yet until I see something.
And also, Washington has been club can't get right for your whole life.
Right.
I mean, for your whole life, they haven't been able to. Now, when Ben Volin was talking about the Patriots and how they have to overpay and no one wants to go there and they hate the culture, who the fuck did that sound like?
Dude, crazy. The Patriots.
That's 15 years.
Oh, my God. It's incredible how quick this league can turn on you. It's such
wild.
Great theater. Did you see that new Browns stadium render that they put out? Their new ideas for Cleveland.
No, throw it up there. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll see.
I want to show you this though. Matthew Gross. Usually I don't put super chats that aren't super chats up, but Matthew Gross is one of the most solid dudes and the biggest Chad Duke Show fan in all of Arkansas. Said I was at the Patriots game. Milton looked great in person. The fans around me love Milton. I was on the Jumbotron wearing my 6-year anniversary CWDG zip up. Send us a picture of that, Matthew Gross, you magnificent bastard. Thank you for that. And Bobby Double L with the $5 super chat. The anking my lucky stars. Of course, that is a radio's Gigantor special. For some reason, the young man can't say thanking, so it is they anking. Yeah, thank you, Bobby Double L. He said it was a great interview. I'd agree. Volin's great, and he's got good information on everybody. I'm surprised he. I'm kind of with you. I think that the Bills, Josh Allen will get the Bills to the playoffs, but it ends there. And for him to even ask the question, will they get by the Chiefs? How exactly are they going to get in a better spot than they were last year to get by the Chiefs? Is it by giving the Chiefs the fastest player in the draft and probably having to go on the road because the Chiefs are going to win 14 games this year? No, it's going to be harder this year, and the Bills are worse. So their window to win the AFC, in my opinion, is closed.
It would take, a generational year from James Cook in the backfield to provide the balance that the offense needs. Because I think that the whole front office and the coaching and Josh Allen knows you can't be running like a maniac this year. This team isn't that deep. They need you for all 17 games to be healthy and to be the dude. And he's still going to go out there and run like a maniac, but he has to tone it down some to be able to do that.
Cook had, to your point, to 4.7 yards a carry, 1,100 yards plus, and he had 44 receptions. And they didn't really start running the offense through him, as you know, till the back half of the season. So maybe that's what happens. Maybe that guy goes out there and he's a minotaur for them.
It would be good to see. I hope so. But I think also the cold weather at the end of the year is more opportunistic for the Bills to start running. Let me see if I can present this.
Well, hold on, but while you're looking for that, I want to play this because this is one of the bigger stories of the week that isn't football. But Jera came out over last week and said that they don't feel urgency to sign Cedee Lamb, and everyone started melting down, including Cedee Lamb responded to it on Twitter. Parsons retweeted what Cedee Lamb said. I mean, he's got these big sillies out there that are all listening to these comments. He goes back before the Cowboys and the Rams preseason game and tries to clarify the statements that he made about how they don't feel pressure to re-sign Cedee Lamb.
Got in trouble the other day when I said, look, we're not urgent about CD. Well, no one appreciates CD being on the field any more than I do. But let me say this, he wouldn't be taking a snap out here today if he'd been here for you've got to use your head when you expose key players. That gives the other younger players a chance to do it.
Here's the problem with what he's saying, Tor. They already went through this with Ezekiel Elliott. And do you remember how Ezekiel Elliott looked when he showed up after holding out of all of training camp? He had a big fat belly on him and looked like crap and took fucking weeks to get back into shape. Now, I'm not saying Cedee Lamb will do that, but sitting here and saying that Cedee Lamb wouldn't be playing in that game against the Rams, he would have been practicing. He'd be with his teammates. He'd be working with the new players that are there.
It's always something in Dallas with a holdout or a star player. It can never just be easy for them. And I do like, you know what, Zeke coming back with the Manny Fresh, car real big, belly real big. I didn't mind that version, but it was still not what you're looking for. It's a training camp. It's a football team. You need to be a team. The team needs to be invested. Go through it. Practice. Know the playbook. Not always something with Jerry Jones speaking about a player, speaking about why he's not coming. We're still working with him. And it's always some soundbite out of that dude.
I think Kyle Brandt's going to come on this show in a couple of weeks from Good Morning Football, who I think is a really talented guy. And he made a great point on the show this morning. He goes, how do you think Cowboys fans feel looking at Washington, looking at a team in their division and all the fun they had with all those new pieces, and all they have to continue to talk about is that their team will not compensate their players, and their best player, who has absolutely earned his deal. We can argue all you want about Brandon Ayuk deserving that type of scratch tour,
right,
or Trevor Lawrence deserving that type of scratch. Cedee Lamb has earned the right to be paid at the top of his position. And so there's no counter argument other than Jerry just doesn't want to do it.
We know exactly what CD can do, and he's worked out with Dak. And so we wouldn't have him out here. It has really not anything to do with his contract. Dak won't be out here this afternoon. And so the bottom line is, what it is no, there's not that urgency. Now, I understand completely the angst that's happening when you are anxious about and someone says anything about whether you're missed or not. Well, CD, you're missed, okay? But you're not missed out here competing, and it doesn't put any pressure any place on us. It's not pressure out here today and in practice.
I bet it sounded good in his head. Like, I bet he said, I'm going to go out there and say that he's missed and it'll get me off the hook. But the tweet that I put out in promotion of this show tour was that Hollywood Brown's injury status and Jerry Jones' word salad are both in midseason form. And that is what that was. And you didn't make anything better there, Jerry, with those comments.
The last couple years, Cedee Lamb, 107 catches last year, 135 catches. He had 1,700 yards last year and 12 touchdowns. That is 3,000 yards over the past 2 years, 21 touchdowns over the past 2 years. You pay that guy. You pay these wide receivers. You can't keep taking risks and chances, and it's always fun to find a gem wide receiver in the 5th round. No one loves seeing that more than I do. But if you draft in a first-round wide receiver, he produces for you, becomes a star of your team, an all-pro wideout, you pay him and you don't let him walk, especially in Dallas, especially if he's wearing 88.
You need to get your Googling skills up. Tell me if this is what you're looking at for the stadium renderings for the Cleveland Browns.
This is exactly it, yeah.
I mean, this is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for the renders, and it always looks cool. It always makes the areas look walkable and with no traffic or parking issues.
Well, there's not a lot of traffic or parking issues because it's Cleveland, God bless them. I mean, I love it, but I'm sure there's lots of open, abandoned warehouses and old railroad stations that they can knock down to build this thing.
But I have a key issue with this building being in Cleveland. This opens up Cleveland to be a playoff victim in the future to a team from the South. Cleveland's cold in the winter, and they're putting a roof on this place. This takes away an advantage, a home field advantage if they get one. This is opening the door for Miami to walk in and beat them in the playoffs on the road. I am not a fan of one of these cold weather cities putting a dome on it. And I understand the infrastructure. You want to be able to host concerts, all-star games, be a destination. But goodness, I prefer cold weather teams to have an open stadium.
They want to be able to host Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. They want to be able to have Garth Brooks play there. And the problem is also it is Cleveland. You know, when Vegas wants to do Nashville wants to build a closed stadium because they want Jelly Roll to be able to fill it up when it's February outside. I get it. The only thing is, Tori, is these stadiums, Nashville's looks very much the same. I don't know if you've seen any of the renderings of that, but these new buildings, starting with, I think, is it SoFi? What's the Los Angeles? Yeah, that one. They're not just stadiums. They're like tiny cities, and all of these other places that just have a stadium, like a big bowl in the middle of a parking lot somewhere. Almost looks completely irrelevant because all of these new buildings, they look like they have their own zip codes. So it'll be interesting to see where these other teams that have like built stadiums in the last 10, 15 years, how much pressure that puts on them to get one of these giant, bukkake sessions.
I just think that a big aspect of classic football is the weather, especially in the playoffs.
I
It's
agree.
cold. You should be able to feel the cold. You can see the cold. A lot of and I'm not trying to romanticize it, but it is a classic NFL lore. Breathing, and you can see the breath. You can see the snow, the grit, the blood, all of it, and that gets taken away with indoor stadiums in the North. And I just am not. I'm not. I don't prefer it.
It's why Lambeau is so special and will continue to be so special. But you're right. There's certain teams, and I would put Cleveland in that. I know the pragmatism, the practicality of what they're doing outweighs the benefits of nostalgia or whatever, but Pittsburgh should play outside.
Yeah,
Cleveland
Buffalo
should play out.
Yeah.
Buffalo needs to play outside.
Buffalo, when it gets cold, that's when the fans get even more passionate because they feel like they're really making an impact. Hey, we're sitting out here in the cold for you guys. We might as well get rowdy. I think it does create a better fan experience. Now, if you got a bad team, we've seen some awful looking games in MetLife from the Jets and the Giants in December where it's raining and everyone looks miserable. But if you have a good team in a cold weather city, I think you should reward the team by having an opponent have to come into that hostile environment.
And also, who gives a shit if the Phoenix Cardinals put a dome on their stadium or the Miami Dolphins or any of these? No one cares.
Yeah, let me get some AC down here watching this game.
Please,
I get that.
Let's do it. All right, very good. Great episode. Thank you so much to Ben Volin. Thank you to you, young Gigantor. Appreciate that. We got some big stuff coming up on the show. Next Monday, Warren Sharp will join us. Very excited for that. And we have Glenn Jacobs coming on the program to talk some Tennessee football. You may know him. He's the WWE Big Red Machine, the Devil's favorite demon, Kane. I know you're all steamed up for that. No, I'm gonna try to keep it in my pants with the wrestling questions. I know he's coming on to talk Vols, but that's exciting, right? That's on Wednesday. Am I correct on that?
It is Wednesday, and I told Doc, one of my friends in my personal life, who's a big WWE fan, and he started rattling off questions for me to ask. Ask her about this. Ask her about and I was just like, oh wow, yeah, this is gonna be a good time this week.
No, we're not doing that. We're not going to nerd him up with Mark questions. We've got to be better than that. At least we have to try to be better than that. All right. If you haven't already, we are getting close to 400 over on the X. Would love to have you on board. There's me and Tor up at the top as Cooley and Colt Brennan, my favorite football picture of all time. It is at Both Types Sports on X. We are giving away Colt Brennan autograph rookie cards all football season long on the 5th of the month. All you have to do is follow us on X. Joey Carter won the first one. We'll be giving away another one on September 5th, which I believe, Tor, is the actual opener for the season. That is when the Ravens and boy, what a game to open the season up, by the way. Ravens and the Chiefs and the Chiefs in Arrowhead will be the matchup. And if you're not doing nothing, well, then got plans because I'm going to be out at Monk's Barbecue for the 2024 season kickoff watch party. We're going to have a chili cheese dog on special. We're giving away Chad Duke Show Yetis at the end of each quarter. Did you hear who's coming out to this event, Gigantor?
Oh, you did tell me who will be in attendance. I am jealous to that.
Jealous.
I'm jealous of Schoode. Yes, that's true here.
Doesn't happen all that often, but he is this time. Former Washington Redskins head coach, former Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator, and former guest of Both Types of Sports, Jay Gruden, will be in the building at Monk's Barbecue on Thursday, September 5th. So come on out. Would love to have you. You can meet Jay. I hear he's a lot of fun. He was super cool on this show. So I think everybody would enjoy themselves. They decided to take me up on that offer. You're not going to be able to make it down, huh?
I don't believe so, but I really do appreciate you throwing in the Okoye shout on the official graphic. One of my favorite classic running backs. Oh,
did you see who the other are? You would get massive props if you knew who that other guy is on the right there.
That is 3-3.
I'll give you a hint. He wasn't the most famous for playing for the Ravens, but he certainly did. And he felt like he fit the vibe with the Nigerian Nightmare. That is Bam Morris. That is Bam Morris. Other than Craig Ironhead Hayward, one of the best named running backs in the history of the game, in my opinion.
Man, look at those big numbers,
school, brother.
They bastardized that uniform.
Oh boy. All right, fantastic. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and Spotify. And of course, we leave you the way that we always do with our exit plan, the way that it's been done from the very first episode. We wish you all to go long, real long.
Hey, what do you got? Nerf Turbo Football. Yeah, what's it do? Go long, real long.
Put a gun on this kid.
Right out of that thing.
Man.
Nice toss.
Threw it all the way to Abu Tor.
You launch it.
We got to get a video version of that where it says there's only one both types of sports. There's only one show talking about the football on the internet. We should wait.